you're in the right place.
Good information ain't cheap, and cheap information ain't good, right?
You can make the life you want to, you can make the business you want to, whatever it is you want to make, with a proper amount of perseverance and brute force and ignorance, you'll get there. Although not really that at all.
Inhaling the fine dust particles can be very bad for you over time. So wear a respirator if you work with Wingate. Something better than a quality dust mask. The respirator is ideal. Other than that, exotics they're a lot of fun.
It's a lot of risk and fear, but moving through those deliberately by just paying attention, learning, being set on constant and continuous improvement.
If you're deciding that you would like to have a Facebook group, you need to decide on what is the purpose of the group.
So there's a system to it, and you follow that system.
Interesting, a lot of times you might see channels or businesses that are frustrated because they're not growing, and you look and you realize that for years or dozens of iterations, you look at the most recent and you go back a few years or a few dozen iterations and there's zero change.
Your shutter speed, ISO, and your frame rates that you're using. So we'll talk about some of the exposure settings, but really, even if you're not comfortable with it, it really wouldn't take a lot of time to get comfortable with it.
So what have you learned and done to try to change? And so that's the thing I always do is it's a continuous process of evolution.
Scheduling and trying to edit and get a video out, like it's really hard to follow exactly. If you do that and do it consistently, it'll generate views.
And my goal isn't to get the most views on YouTube. My goal is, to provide confidence, inspiration, and knowledge through entertaining and engaging content. So every time I make a video, that's my goal.
Pretty quickly, because at the end of the day, those three things sort of affect each other, and it adjusts the brightness in what you can see on the screen.
And while I was there, I was looking at YouTube, and I'd have my favorite channels that I'd watch concerning tool and tech reviews. And
but I really kind of implore you, because for a cell phone, for example, the upfront investment isn't crazy, right? So if you're putting $15 for the app, you can play with it, and the camera will give you an immediate feedback on the screen on what you're doing and what that means. So I would say, even if you're uncomfortable with it, there's an opportunity to try it out on your phone. And if you're comfortable with some of the manual tinkering of the settings, then you can obviously feel free to use that feature on your phone, or get a more dedicated camera that allows you to control that as a native option.
You got to get them to click. You got to get them to watch. I'm terrible at thumbnails. I hate doing them. I would stress so bad over doing them. I've actually hired somebody else to do them now. That's why they look different. I'm not doing them anymore. I took that out of my hands, and I'm stress-free on that part.
Another thing is also onboarding people that are better than me at something. So I have an editor I've been working with for about 2 years now.
One day it just kind of hit me that, okay, I watch a lot of these videos and I obviously find value in them. Why can I not be the person on the other side of the camera, right? Providing the content and the information.
Not confusing what you feel like with what you want. I'm a big fan of picking on the English language. And unfortunately, when you say want, that carries your desires, but it also carries what you feel like. And so I get to do what I want to do every day. That doesn't mean I get to do what I feel like every day. And most days I don't feel like.
The best part is the end, where I see the final result, everything comes together, and I can see my hard work paying off.
I enjoy editing the videos. That's always fun. I try to make it different than the video before, sometimes very unsuccessfully.
The best part for me is probably after you've posted the video, and hopefully you start to see nice, thoughtful comments roll in. Because it's that reaffirmation that the hard work that you're doing actually made a difference to somebody, or that they actually saw that you were even working hard. And a lot of people don't understand that not only is it just the fact that you have to make that project, but you also have to somehow make it look good on camera. And it's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure to constantly be presentable in that regard. And to find a way sometimes when you've messed stuff up completely to actually make it good content. It can be hard, it can be challenging. So I guess that's kind of simultaneously the best and worst thing, is having people acknowledge that it's good and being proud of the work you did, but also knowing that you had to go through a lot of struggle just to make it look good.
Our audience smells authenticity and whether or not you're enjoying what you do very easy.
The worst part is trying to stick to a consistent schedule. I try to do every 2 weeks, but that really doesn't happen. So that's probably the worst part, is trying to post every 2 weeks, and it's impossible with life. So
remembering to record everything in the shop, trying to get a project done while you're also trying to film that project is frankly annoying if you don't have somebody to like remind you to start the camera or to film for you.
Absolutely. Just adding the, hey, you're recording this, that can double the time of a project. And then after all that, you go back to post-processing and realize that for half the time of your best monologue, you look like this, and everybody's just sitting there. You're trying to figure out how you can make this work. That's probably the most frustrating part for me, is just realizing that I've got all my imperfections in my woodworking. This is just another layer of imperfections that I get to throw in there. Is now all the screw ups I do on video too.
I feel like the biggest challenge is probably getting yelled at to put on protective equipment all the time. And the best part is probably just like editing, because I really like being able to put the clips together and choosing like when everything happens in it.
Awesome. For sure, it's so much fun. I mean, Corona came by and we thought, what were we going to do? And we decided to do, a woodworking YouTube channel, and we just kept doing it.
Certain events started leading me down toward the path of taking it seriously and looking into what it does take to become a YouTuber or a content creator, how much time, how much effort, and watching videos of the bigger YouTube channels. I went back and found their videos where they talk about what it takes to create a successful YouTube channel.
Best part sometimes is just watching some of those things. Some of those, you know what, I'm glad I got that on camera moment.
In terms of growing a business, especially a business where you make things, is make the things you want to sell. I want to say Brad Rodriguez said this many times a while back, where it's like, if you don't want to sell cutting boards, stop making cutting boards. If you want to sell tables, make some tables and sell them at a loss if you have to, just to get some tables out there you sold. You attract clients that you can show you've actually made a thing. If you're trying to sell couches, don't keep making coasters telling people you can make couches. Make some couches.
A good plan of attack is to create a channel on YouTube or an account on YouTube that you don't have any ties to. You've never watched anything on there, and just start watching content you're interested in on that channel. Don't watch the news, or don't click off and start watching, the latest episode or whatever. Just use that account strictly for that, and that'll kind of start drumming up what's being surfaced to people, and then from there you can kind of,
as far as equipment goes, and I say this adamantly all the time, there is nothing I've ever made that I couldn't make by hand. And I have a skill set that I've developed that I could make it by hand. Does having a CNC make it faster? You bet it does.
The big change that I've seen is that people have gotten even shorter attention spans than normal. So if you are going to start a YouTube channel and you're going to start recording yourself working, keep the pace really, really fast. People get bored super quick, and when they get bored, they either start tapping those arrow keys to speed through the video, or else they'll just drag the slider across the screen so that they can speed through and skip to the end and see what you've built. But if you want to engage them throughout the whole video, you've got to keep the pace really, really fast.
Basically structure your channel so that you generate more views. They watch one video, they're going to watch the next, the next, the next. If you look, and you can tell the difference I can see it in my analytics. I can see it in the way my channel's structured.
The first thing that I would recommend to anybody, and this of course applies to any niche that you're looking to start a channel for, is before you even take the first steps in terms of researching and all that, which we'll talk about in a second, I would have a really honest conversation with yourself about what you're looking to get out of the channel and what your expectations are. I see a lot of comments from people, not just in the Facebook group, but just elsewhere, people messaging me, and I read a lot of comments, and I do a lot of research or cruising around YouTube in general. People say things like, I'm just doing the channel for fun. I have no expectations for growth. This is just a hobby for me. And if that's all you're looking to get out of it, disregard everything else that I'm about to say.